I would like to introduce our first speaker for this afternoon, Dean Draco. If you have a question for Dean, please enter it into the question window, and we'll try to save some time at the end for Q&A at the end of following Dean's presentation. Dean Draco is the founder and CEO of cloud video surveillance provider Eagle Eye Networks, which ranked 307th on the 2021 Deloitte Technology Fast 500. Dean is also the chairman of Brevo and founder and CEO of Draco Motors, where he launched the Draco GTE, a 206 mile per hour, 1,200 horsepower, 4-passenger electric luxury supercar. In addition, Dean was founder, president, and CEO of Barracuda Networks, where he created the IT security industry's first spam filter appliance, and then grew the company to more than 140 products and 150,000 customers from its inception in 2003 through to 2012. Let's please welcome today, Dean Draco.
Hi, my name is Dean Draco. I appreciate you joining me here today. Let me do a share screen and launch a presentation. We're here today to talk about security industry growth and the opportunities that cloud and AI bring to us that we can all leverage. Again, my name is Dean Draco, and I'm the president and CEO of Eagle Eye Networks, and we're focused on doing cloud video. So there's about 800 million cameras deployed throughout the world today. In the next year or two, we will cross over the point of billions of security cameras or billions of cameras deployed across the globe. It's a crazy number. There's only 7 billion-ish people on the planet today. We will probably get to the place down the road where there's more cameras than there are people in the world. It's not inconceivable given where those numbers are today. Okay, there are two major change drivers, in my opinion, in the video surveillance industry. Two things that are basically going to drive change over the next 10 years, maybe even 20 years, but driving even today, this year. And the first one of those is the cloud, okay? Video surveillance is moving very quickly and very effectively to the cloud. The cloud offers a lot of advantages, a lot of cost reductions, a lot of benefits. Customers are understanding that now, and they are basically moving to the cloud. Let's talk about a recent survey that I found of Canadian video surveillance end users and what they said about the cloud. So 65.9% of the Canadian end users wanted to manage or store their video data in the cloud in the next 2 years. Why do they want to do that? Canadian end users opting for video surveillance in the cloud because it's easier to maintain, and they want the remote monitoring capabilities that are inherent in moving the video to the cloud. It was tied for number 2 as better vulnerability cybersecurity management. Okay, something near and dear to my heart. Furthermore, 56.1% of Canadian users say the pandemic started or accelerated greatly, okay, their video surveillance cloud strategy. They realized that having everything on premise made things a little more difficult when you were working remotely. They wanted access to those cameras. So what are the advantages of the cloud over a typical on-site deployment? I'm sure many of you already know this, but just quickly kind of recapping, the cloud solution is really very centric around real-time global remote access and management, okay? That's often difficult with an on-premise system. The scalability of the cloud solution is infinite or nearly infinite. Thousands, hundreds of thousands of cameras can be added and scaled with a click of a button. If you want to scale your on-premise system, you have to buy more hardware, install it, mount it, rack it, whatever you need to do. In the cloud world, you have a company that's 24/7 maintaining your uptime, doing continuous delivery, monitoring, and making sure everything is running. If you want to do that yourself, it's a significant overhead to do so. Cybersecurity, a question that's on the front of most people's minds these days, is your responsibility in the traditional on-premise deployment, or your customer's responsibility. In the cloud environment, the vendor takes on most responsibility, encrypts the data, secures the transmission, does the penetration testing, make sure that the patches are applied, make sure that everything is kept up to date and is cyber secure, relieving the customer or the reseller from that workload. AI and analytics in the cloud is kind of the fifth point that I think cloud is going to dominate on. And I don't think we've actually seen the full impact of that yet. I think we'll see the full impact of that very soon. Doing AI and analytics at the edge requires more compute power, needs to be deployed, needs to be integrated. In the cloud, it can be done with a click of a button, and the vendor or the suppliers take care of it for you. I think that's going to change the speed and effectiveness at which we can deploy AI and analytics for customers, and how much of that AI and analytics customers use. And finally, central management is inherent in a cloud deployment. It comes as a base entry point. It's included with all the systems. It's not an additional system that needs to be deployed and maintained and managed. So given all of these advantages, you can see why customers are moving to the cloud more and more quickly. Excuse me. So I have a little bit of a prediction that I've been sharing on the cloud physical security transition. So if you look back at the CRM products that were originally introduced, and primarily Salesforce.com was the main driver here. Salesforce.com was launched in the year 2000. I was a customer in, I think, 2002 or something. And it took about 16 years from that launch in 2000 for the SaaS market, not Salesforce.com, but for the entire SaaS market to reach 50% market share in 2016. And what you see is also kind of the decline of on-premise deployments. So it was 16 years from launch until actual deployment. I believe that the video surveillance industry will operate on a slightly slower curve because of the physical deployment kind of aspects of our industry. And so if you kind of take a look at the prediction of where we're going to be, okay, I believe that we launched Eagle Eye Cloud VMS in 2015. I kind of compare us to the Salesforce.com. So in 2031, if we're on that same 16-year curve, okay, we will be at 50% VSaaS in the industry. That's quite a long road ahead of us, and a long and slow conversion, but I think it's going to be relatively accurate. What is going to happen, though, is that the revenue from that market is going to increase quite significantly. And so it's going to be where the majority of the money is made. AI, I think, has the potential to accelerate both its in deployment and also potentially help us accelerate with that conversion to cloud. So good, fun stuff. So cloud is the first driver of the video surveillance market over the next 10 years. The second major driver is going to be AI, machine learning, the deployment of trained models. You know, there's lots of different phrases for it, lots of different ways that people talk about it, but it's basically using computers to actually look at the video and determine what's going on. Okay, we now know how to do that. We're actually getting quite effective at doing it. And I believe that AI video and analytics is going to fall into two fundamental categories of deployment over the next 5 years. There's going to be lots of use cases for AI and video, but I believe that two uses are going to be predominantly widespread and the most useful. The first, I believe, is going to be AI video search. Okay, and with AI video search, customers, law enforcement, anyone using security cameras will be able to quickly and easily find what they're looking for in the video. Okay, and that video search is going to be fast. It's going to be just like Google. You're going to put in some term and the system is going to come back with the things that are actually mostly what you were looking for. Won't always be 100% accurate, but it's going to be pretty darn good compared to what we have now of manually sifting through video. Okay, so with that, let's play the video.
There are now billions of security cameras deployed across the globe that are used to protect people and property. There are too many cameras recording video without any practical way to view it. Some of it's very valuable. However, finding the important video when you need it takes too long. Until now. Combining true cloud video surveillance with powerful artificial intelligence, Eagle Eye Networks has created a Google-like search solution for all your surveillance video. Eagle Eye makes it easy to use your video to improve security, safety, efficiency, customer service, operations, and more. With Eagle Eye Network's Smart Video Search, you can instantly search all of your video for people, vehicles, or objects. You can search based on characteristics, clothes, colors, make, model, and more. Need to find a person with a backpack? Use the search and there you have them all. But what you really need is a person in a red shirt with a backpack visiting last week. Refine your search and there they are. You can even see what time they arrived at the office. Search is Eagle Eye simple. No more reviewing video for hours. Was there suspicious behavior in your parking lot from someone riding a bicycle and wearing a backpack? There he is, wearing the backpack on a bicycle. Looking for any person wearing a blue shirt and gray shorts? Want to find the detected person on other cameras as well? Instantly see all of the times and places they have been with a quick search. Need to find that Honda that came into the parking lot? Not just any Honda, but a red Honda SUV? It's that easy. With Smart Video Search, you can easily find the people and vehicles you're looking for. You can find, quickly view, archive, share, and make decisions more rapidly and accurately. With Eagle Eye Networks, you can improve efficiency, effectiveness, and safety. And we're just getting started.
Back to the presentation. Okay, I hope that was helpful in kind of articulating what video search is. I think it's going to be one of the two key areas that is deployed to customers and where AI proves very, very useful for them. The second key area, okay, is AI notifications and alerts. Okay, and I think you'll see some demos and videos of this for some other folks. I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail of it, but it's basically computers looking at the video for things that are, wrong, incorrect, problematic, potentially dangerous, etc. And I think that these will be deployed in a lot of different areas, such as basically restricted area kind of access, people falling down, okay, customer wait times, for business productivity, okay, compliance or safety issues, all kinds of alerts around AI, and people, mostly people doing things that they're not supposed to be doing, are going to be prevalent as the second major deployment capability of AI. So there are two major forces that I think are going to drive video surveillance over the next 5 to 10 years. One is move to the cloud, and the second is AI. I believe that there are two particularly strong use cases in AI. The first being search, and the second being detection and notifications of bad behavior or incorrect behavior or situations that people want to be aware of. And that are going to be the major deployment cases for AI. There will be other AI deployment cases, but I believe these will be the two that will drive real revenue for resellers, where you can make money and you can explain to customers the value that this brings to them and charge them and increase your revenue with these types of applications. So those are the opportunities today. At this point, I think I'd like to open it up for any questions that anyone in the audience might have.
Great, thank you, Dean. Yeah, if anybody has any questions for Dean, there's a Q&A window that you can enter that into now, or you can also pose your question in the chat, and I'll monitor the chat as well, just in case.
Okay.
Maybe, Dean, first off the bat, can you tell us a bit more? You mentioned cybersecurity challenges. Can you talk about how the industry can face up to those challenges? What is it doing well, and what still needs to improve?
Well, if you kind of look at the major force I talked about, right? Cybersecurity gets solved drastically by moving to a cloud-based system, right? You still have some cybersecurity challenges in a cloud-based system, but not nearly the level that you would face in an on-premise system. In an on-premise system, you're maintaining a Windows box or a Linux box. Someone has to do the patching. Someone has to open that box up with some ports or some remote access if people want to get to the video. All of those things are danger zones that are eliminated with a cloud-based system. That said, okay, as an industry, we've mostly let the customer handle kind of the cybersecurity issues associated with maintaining those on-premise boxes. Okay, and if you look at kind of the DVRs and NVRs, they're not upgraded, they're not maintained, the firmware is never checked for security holes, etc. So I think we've done a very poor job on that front. If you move up into the Windows and Linux boxes, right, we've done some work there to help, but generally we've left it to the customer. On the camera front, very little penetration testing is done on cameras. Very little testing is done on cameras, and upgrades of firmware on cameras is done as well. And so there's a lot of vulnerabilities that exist in the system. We need to kind of, as an industry, get better at that. And we've got to sell that value to the customer, right? The customer needs to understand that there's something that needs to be done there, and they need to kind of be willing to pay for the security and maintenance. And how we package that up and sell it, I don't think we've done a particularly good job as an industry. I think we can do better, and I'd like to see that happen.
Thanks, Dean. Yeah. Questions are rolling in, so I'm going to try and get to as many as we can. Can you explain the monthly fee or the licensing fee that's involved with a cloud-based video security model?
Well, I can't, I can explain the Eagle Eye monthly fees. I'm not sure I can explain everybody's. The way a cloud-based security camera system works in the case of Eagle Eye is we charge a small fee per month per camera. Okay, and that can be per year per camera, per month per camera, etc. And that fee varies based on the amount of compute and storage that camera will use in the cloud. So a higher resolution camera will cost a little more. A retention period that's very long will cost a little bit more. Okay, a short retention period in a low res camera will be cheaper than a high res, high retention camera. And in the retention, one of the things about the cloud is the customer doesn't need to worry about the disk space for retention, right? There's an infinite amount of disk space effectively. And if they want to retain their video for 180 days or 2 years or 10 years, that's just a different setting on the menu, and they don't have to go and deploy additional hardware. So they're not really worried about those kinds of things any longer. The cloud provider worries about that.
Okay. What do you think will be the most challenging obstacle for video manufacturers, I guess camera manufacturers, moving to the cloud?
Okay, can you the most difficult issue for who to move to the cloud?
I think the question is addressing camera manufacturers. Hardware.
Yeah, we've partnered with a number of camera manufacturers who, some of the camera manufacturers attempt to sell DVRs and NVRs and VMS systems as well. I think they've historically struggled with a cloud strategy or cloud solution. The cloud strategy or cloud solution is a significantly larger investment in engineering and development than it is to kind of build a software system for an NVR or a DVR. If you look at the engineering team that is typically developing the software on a NVR, DVR, VMS, it can be a team of some 5 or 10 or 15, maybe 25 people. To do a cloud-based system like we do at Eagle Eye, you're looking at hundreds of engineers that are constantly working on how to deploy and make it scalable and reliable and robust and secure, and it's a much bigger task. And so that investment, I think, has been hard for some of those manufacturers to contemplate. And so I think there's an opportunity there for Eagle Eye and for other cloud manufacturers to move in and take over that business.
Okay, thank you. Next question. Can you set or specify certain behaviors that will trigger an alert?
Well, the interesting thing about AI is it can be any behavior that you can train for. The way AI works is that you select, 500 images or 500 videos of something that is wrong, i.e., someone's not wearing a hard hat, or someone has fallen down, or someone is jumping too high, or someone's standing on a ladder wrong, or whatever it is. And then you pick 500 images, or 5,000 or 10,000. The quantity can vary on the training of the images in the correct state of people properly wearing their gear or properly doing the behavior that you care about. And you train the model to detect when people are doing whatever it is that you feel is problematic or incorrect, or even it might be a correct behavior, but you want to be notified of it, right? I said incorrect behavior and wrong behavior because that's kind of the most typical use case. But you could kind of say, look, I want to know whenever the conference room is full, or whenever the conference room is being used. Okay, and send me an SMS message whenever all 8 seats in the conference room are occupied, and you could train an AI model to do that. And so it's not a question of necessarily right or wrong. It's a question of detecting a certain situation, or maybe it's a situation is the best way to describe it. You can detect any situation. I want to get an alert when somebody parks in the handicapped parking spots, okay, because I want somebody to go out there and assist them getting into the building. Okay, because we have a special lift out there, and somebody needs to show them how to use it. So it's not necessarily incorrect behavior, but I think that most of the applications that people are going to pay money for, and where resellers can make additional revenue, will most likely be in the misbehavior category. So that's why I use that as the core mention.
Okay. Q. Question about face recognition technology. Trying to think of the best way to pose this question, but how do you deal with the regulations that might come along with that, or some of the privacy implications?
Well, so you notice that in my presentation, I didn't mention face recognition at all. I think it's the politically kind of hot topic and a hot button, and I think it's going to get more so. And so AI face recognition is been around for many, many years, and there's face recognition algorithms. I believe that face recognition algorithms can probably be improved or optimized or made better using AI, but face recognition I consider somewhat separate because it's been around, and the core algorithms actually don't use a whole lot of AI. And so I can kind of consider it a little bit of a separate analytic, kind of like, the old school analytics that are on the cameras that could count people or count, line crossings or do intruder alerts, etc. They didn't use AI training methods, but they were, they can be very effective. And I kind of put face recognition kind of into that category. I would be cautious about, I think face recognition will be very successful for access control. Okay, where people are enrolled and it's used to open doors and stuff. Beyond that, in North America and Europe, I think it's going to have challenges. I think you're going to find a patchwork of laws that create problems around it, and potentially even lawsuits. I read recently about a lawsuit of somebody suing a city or a state suing Facebook or somebody over something related to face recognition and face extraction. And so, I wouldn't recommend going into it full force to anyone without a lot of homework on the legal front.
Okay, thank you. Who owns the rights to the data that is saved on the cloud, the client or the customer?
Okay, the client and the customer, I think, would be the same, but the person who owns the cameras and owns the account on the cloud system in the Eagle Eye case owns the video. Okay, Eagle Eye does not take ownership of the video in any way, shape, or form. The reseller does not take ownership of the video in any way, shape, or form. The customer maintains title to all the video.
Okay. In some regulated industries, data must remain in Canada, so the location of cloud servers is also a concern. How does that limit the availability of options to Canadian customers?
So in Eagle Eye's case, we don't operate in Amazon, AWS, or Azure. We operate in our own data centers. And we operate a data center in Canada, specifically for Canadian customers, so that the regulated industries and all of the Canadian customers can keep their data in Canada if they so choose.
Thank you. Does Eagle Eye have access to the video files?
There are, you know, in the end, I'd be lying if I said we don't have access to the video files. Okay, we have a tremendous amount of restrictions, safeguards, encryption keys, rules, policies, and, you know, a massive amount of stuff such that, you know, no one is able to look at video of customers without the customer specifically granting permission. But you know, I would be lying if I said, you know, that we couldn't get to, you know, video if we wanted to or needed to in some way, shape, or form. The only way to solve that problem is, you know, with the customer owning the encryption key. And that is, we've looked into that, and it doesn't prove particularly practical from an execution point of view.
Okay, thank you. For systems integrators, how does the cloud business affect their benefits? Or how does it benefit them, or how does it affect their business model maybe?
Well, as a reseller, right, your business is far more valuable if you can build up a recurring revenue stream, right? Because the recurring revenue stream will translate into a higher value if and when you ever want to sell your business. And video is a large recurring revenue stream. And so some of our resellers, some of our larger resellers, have been very focused on converting as much of their video revenue as possible to an Eagle Eye platform, because they want to build that recurring revenue stream. And so the numbers might be smaller to start, but when you compound them and grow them and convert it into a monthly or yearly kind of fee, it grows very fast and can make your business worth literally 10 times more than it would be if you're selling the one and done kind of video surveillance installation.
Okay. How can we integrate access control as a service and video surveillance as a service to make them work better or work more effectively together?
Yeah, well, so we've already done that with Brevo, which, you know, is I believe, and I think I'm pretty confident, is the largest cloud video access company in the world. And so, cloud access control company in the world, sorry. The whole kind of point that I would make is that I'm a very strong believer in open kind of systems. And I believe that open systems will generally win out over closed systems. And, you know, you've kind of seen that over the years in the Linux world, in the Windows world, in a whole bunch of worlds, because one company can't do everything that the majority of the industry or the majority of the customers need or want. It's just not really possible. And so open platforms that allow you to integrate, I think, are key. And as those open platforms progress, I think you'll see integrations that are very, very effective and far more powerful than you can get with closed systems. And so, you know, an example of that is, you know, if you wanted to look at the APIs of older kind of Windows-based systems that were provided by some of the large vendors over the years, you had to sign non-disclosure agreements, and you had to get DLLs, and you had to install them, and then you had to sign their license agreement, and then you could finally start to use their quote unquote open APIs. In the case of Eagle Eye, our APIs are posted on the website. Anyone in the world can look at them and open an account and start writing code against our APIs. And so we have, thousands of folks that are building tools, building analytics, building, specialized applications on top of the Eagle Eye video API. And that openness, I think, is powerful for an integrator or a reseller, because you can always hire somebody, the customer can hire somebody. There's a whole slew of solutions that you can get a catalog of and do integration type of work and add value for that customer. And I think that's a powerful kind of answer for all of us.
Thank you. What environments or what industries is AI video search currently in use?
I think that there's some deployment of video search in kind of police and in citywide kind of surveillance. There's some systems that can have done it. I don't think anyone will have a deployment as large as what we'll have at Eagle Eye, where the Eagle Eye video search is going to be incorporated across every camera in our system and available to every user of our platform at no additional cost. Okay. And so, I wouldn't say I'm an expert at who's deployed it and who's using it, because all of those systems are on-prem systems, and the people who deploy them don't really want to advertise and talk about the fact that they may have deployed them, and they're a little crude. They're not at the same level as I think what we're talking about in terms of ease of use and ease of interface. Getting it to a Google-like search, is no small feat, but I think it opens the door on the usability such that, anyone can use it versus, a trained technician.
Okay, great. Well, thank you, Dean. I think, there's one more question that just popped up. Is there a possibility to integrate IoT sensors and security cameras to the Eagle Eye platform?
Yes, absolutely. So the Eagle Eye platform, we support almost every make and model of camera made in the last 10 years. Any of those cameras can be hooked up, analog cameras, HDTVI. But with the open APIs, we also promote IoT sensors and all kinds of things being integrated and utilized in the platform.
Okay. I think we have time for one more quick one. How many languages is Eagle Eye supporting, as for example, French or Spanish?
French and Spanish are both supported. I think we have 7 or 8 languages that are supported. Japanese is supported, not Chinese yet. French is supported, Portuguese is supported, Spanish is supported. I think German is supported. Great.
Thank you. There are a few more questions rolling in, but unfortunately, we're going to have to close it off. So I'm sorry if we didn't get to your question. But thank you, Dean, for spending some time with us today.
So
really insightful.
If anybody wants to reach out to me, my email address is Drako, D-R-A-K-O, @EEN.com. Feel free to drop me a note with any additional questions.
Great, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody.